Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Tara Labar and I'm the Associate Director for Academic Affairs at Kansas Board of Regents. I am excited to kick off another session in our webinar series. And today we're focused on the class of 2021. As we come out of this worldwide pandemic, it's really changed how education looks at K-12 and also at higher ed. And it's been a really tough year for seniors. And so today we've got some representatives here to talk about college after COVID. As we move out of this pandemic, it's been a challenging process, and we want to try to reassure you and encourage you to take those steps and follow your dreams into higher education or any of your post-secondary plans, and that's still a good idea. So to kick us off, we've got several representatives from across the state of Kansas from lots of different institutions, and to get us started and tell you more about the session today, I'm going to introduce a school counselor from Washington Rural High School in Topeka, Kansas, Marcy Fredrickson. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Thank you, Tara. Yes, I'm Marcy Fredrickson, and I'm a school counselor at Washburn Rural in Topeka, and I'm going to be facilitating a panel discussion today. We are joined by 3 higher education professionals. We have one from a technical school, a junior college, and a 4-year college. They're going to be answering questions that are relevant to current seniors and families as you continue to make your final post-secondary plans. We really hope that you find this presentation informative and encouraging as you look forward to the next step in your academic journey. I am now going to turn to our panel and ask them to introduce themselves, including name, institution, position, and how long they've been in their current role. We are going to begin today with Eric.
Well, thank you, Marcy. My name is Eric Burks. I'm the president at North Central Kansas Technical College. I might correct Marcy just a little bit. We're not a school, we are a college, in that we have transferable credits and offer associate degrees. So I just want to put that in there for technical colleges. I'm here representing the 7 technical colleges in the state of Kansas. I've been president at North Central Kansas Technical College for 9 years.
Hi, and I am JC Gillum. I'm representing Independence Community College today. I am the Associate Vice President of Academic Affairs. I've been at the college for about 6 years. My current role for a little less than a week, but involved in concurrent and dual credit enrollment for about a little over 5 years. So.
And my name's Aaron Hamilton. I'm the Senior Associate Director of Admissions at Wichita State. And I have been in this role for about 5 years, but I've been at Wichita State since 1997.
Okay, well, thank you very much. The next question we're going to give to JC to start. What did learning look like at your institution during COVID? For instance, did you transition to hybrid, fully online, or another model? Are you currently in that model?
Yes, so at ICC, and I think probably across the state, it's very similar, but every school varies a little bit. We really went with more of a flex type model or schedule. We had a mix of both hybrid classes. We incorporated a lot of 8-week options so that students could come in and get, maybe a couple classes done the first 8 weeks and a couple classes done the second 8 weeks instead of all of them at once. That way they could be flexible in what they needed to get done. And then also obviously our normal online options, which were the most popular. So with that, we are still currently in that model, and for the future, it looks like probably for summer and definitely fall as well, we will still keep a lot of the 8-week options and the hybrid, but also move back to more of our traditional 16-week on ground face-to-face classes. We found that, for some of our students, the quick pace online classes are not for everyone. And we want to make sure that we're giving all of the students the different options. And we're excited to be able to get some more of our face-to-face and get the students back on campus. So.
Thank you. Aaron?
Yes, so Here at Wichita State, we last spring went fully remote throughout the end of the semester. And then in the fall, we actually had 3 different options. We had a fully online version, a hybrid, and an in-person. And, you know, to be fair, most of our classes were online. The in-person ones, there weren't very many of them. So moving forward, we foresee, you know, most of the schools are announcing next fall to be as close to a regular schedule as possible. So for the 4-year schools, that's kind of what we did. We went online, we went hybrid, we went in person. We tried to do what we could. This spring has been much smoother. This spring has had, again, we have all 3 options, but there's a lot more in person. All labs are in person. So biology, chemistry, any of the health professions, those are all in person. And there's just a lot more life than there was last fall on campus.
Thank you.
Yeah, and at the technical colleges, really, as Aaron spoke about last spring when the governor shut down schools and we were all just learning about what COVID-19 really was, we did have to shift to remote learning. And so we were remote then. Going into the fall, we carried some of that with more of our classroom type setting stuff, but anything, it's just really hard to do hands-on technical skills completely remote or online. And so we had masks and social distancing, and we had to change some of our classes so that we could accommodate smaller numbers in those classes. But generally speaking, it looked a lot like it's always looked. We had cut out some of our social interaction and some of those things, just trying to keep circles small so that we could mitigate and keep the virus down as much as we could. But really, as we've moved into the spring semester, we've been very much like we have in the past. We've even opened up some common spaces in our union to allow students to congregate in smaller numbers and things like that. So we've really tried to start shifting back towards providing that hands-on experience, which we provided all the way through, but also that collegiate experience and letting students get to know each other and all those things that are part of college outside of the classroom. So we really feel like we're going to be able to continue that and hopefully even expand upon that moving into the fall. And we expect things to look very much like they have in the past. And we'll carry forward some of the things that have worked really well that we've learned through COVID. We're doing some things that we thought we couldn't do before. And now all of a sudden we're finding out that it's more convenient for our students and they're having a better experience. So we'll carry forward those aspects and try to bring back some of those that students really enjoy and that we all miss.
Thank you. The next question, can you discuss any systems in place that are designed to support students who might be experiencing difficulties with their learning during COVID? We will start with Aaron.
Sure. Here at Wichita State, we were able to start a laptop loan program. So we actually have almost over 40% of our students are first generation students. And so resources are very important to them. And so we had the laptop loans. We loaned out the hotspots at no cost for students that didn't have internet at home. All of our student health and wellness, it's still in person, but it's also online. And so that would include anything, both physical, mental, and emotional. And so they've had just a tremendous year of adjusting and adapting. But we also have what's called a CARES team, where anyone can report a student that may be at risk, whether it's food insecurity, housing, or just stress. So those systems were already in place, but I wouldn't say they're new. I would say they're amplified over the last year in terms of the level of service and the volume of service that they did. We were fortunate through some of the COVID funding through the federal government to do some emergency loans for students that had trouble paying their bills. Maybe they lost their job. So we were able to do that. And we were also able to start a molecular diagnostics lab, which is unique. I mean, all the things that I mentioned before most of the four-year schools did something similar to be able to provide services to students. But this allowed us to do COVID testing and have results within 24 hours. We can actually do it for the whole community. So that's been good. But our dorms were full this year, and we anticipate them being full next year. So we're excited about that. But as far as services for those students, you know, living in a dorm is one thing. Living in a dorm during COVID is very unique. You know, just sitting in your room doing classes. It's not the traditional college experience, and it weighs heavy on people. So we have you know, support services for our students. We started it's called We Support You hashtag, and through that, a lot of students that were identified as in need or at risk, we were able to identify and be able to help them out and get them the resources they need to not only be successful in the classroom. You know, we move tutoring online and supplemental instruction, et cetera, but also just to be able to not have to worry, am I going to have food this weekend and those kind of things. So there were a lot of things that were put in place that I hope are actually long-term. I think they're good for students.
Thank you.
Yeah, and at North Central Kansas Technical College, we've had a student success team that's focused just on helping students get through. I mean, that's what they always do, but obviously, I think Aaron said it best, it's amplified during COVID, so we've really had to enhance and make more of those options available to students regardless of where they're at. And also in dealing with it as students were infected, you know, we had students that did have COVID. And so working with those students so that they had a place to go, so that they could go home to their family if that was their best option, but they also could stay here on campus if that was their best option. And so we allowed a lot of support for that. And then trying to keep them, because a lot happens in 10 to 14 days while you're being quarantined or isolated. And so trying to keep them up as much as we could. Again, doing some of the work that could be done remotely and just finding ways to support them. Several of the things that Aaron mentioned as well, access to technology, and we've really increased our technology ability both for our students and for our instructors so that we can utilize that more effectively. And so I feel like we've really stepped things up and enhanced what we do to help students be successful. It's always been something that we've been focused on, but I think that really people understand it's just at a new level and needs a new level as we work through this pandemic.
Thank you.
Yeah, for ICC, we, you know, like everyone else, we've really had to amp up our services for the students. Our Academic Success Center has been great. They were able to implement a lot of the online tutoring, one-on-one tutoring sessions virtually with students as needed. We offer NetTutor, which is a more on-demand type tutoring service, which has been utilized a lot more than it had been in the past. We have our peer tutors have been very flexible and have been able to, you know, be available at the drop of a hat. If a student, you know, is in need and are needing to reach out, they can, you know, hop on Zoom and help them, which is a great thing that I think will continue on even after the pandemic. We also have our Navigator program, which is a great resource for our students. It's our advisor program, basically. But those students, once they're paired with that Navigator, they're with them for the whole time that they're at ICC. So it's a great resource for them to know they have a person to go to. We also have our emergency response team, which was formed early on in our closure of school, that we still meet weekly. We still, you know, every week there's still something that comes up that we have to address. And it's a great resource for our whole campus to be able to know that there's this group of us that are available, and we can, you know, find a solution to help the students and provide that support that they need. So like I said, a lot of those things are things we already had, like Aaron mentioned, but they've really had to kind of ramp up a little bit. And I think, you know, we will continue to see how we can keep those ramped up after the pandemic as well.
Thank you. Okay, Eric, we're going to start with you on this one. What do you anticipate on-campus living to look like in the 2021-2022 academic year?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, hopefully it'll be more social. Hopefully we'll be able to allow students to spend more time in our intramural programs. And like I said, we've already started that again here in the spring. And doing those things outside the classroom. I think when students live on campus, it's because they want to get to know people and start to meet folks. And that we want to certainly facilitate that the best we can. We will focus, as everyone here, I think, would agree, on student safety first, and we're going to try to make decisions that are going to keep students safe. The ultimate goal is to help students be able to reach graduation and to be able to go out and get that job and move on through and do that in a safe manner. So we'll always put our emphasis there, but we understand that students come to college for a lot of different reasons, and we certainly want to help them to be able to enjoy living on campus. We have apartments here on our campus, and we have continued to have students living in our apartments throughout. So nothing really has changed that way, other than we're just trying to keep people's circles a little bit smaller. And I'm hoping that we can start to relax that moving into the fall of 21.
Thank you.
Yeah, at ICC, this past year, we have had students living in our dorms. Like Eric said, we've had to really look at the safety protocols and, having the smaller groups of students. We've really went with more of a cohort model, especially when it comes to our athletic teams and things like that. For next year, we are hoping to return to full normal on-campus housing, which we normally have about 300 students living in our dorms and our different options here. So there still will be some probably stricter guidelines on, guest policy, things like that in the lounge spaces, but we'll continue to just kind of follow the policies that are in place for that. And we do have a separate set of dorms that we have been able to utilize for quarantine purposes and things like that. We will still keep those available if we need those. Hopefully we won't. But again, we have the same as everyone else. We've had the students that we've had to quarantine that have had positive cases. So we just kind of, have to work with those as they come. And kind of the same goes for our cafeteria and things like that. Again, we hope to kind of get all of that back to normal the best we can, or whatever the new normal is. So we're hoping to get everyone back on campus and get them joining together again. So.
Thank you.
And the four-year schools right now, the Kansas Board of Regents schools, so Emporia, Fort Hays, Pittsburgh, KU, K-State, and Wichita State, we're planning to have students living on campus. As I mentioned earlier, our dorms are full actually right now, and we anticipate that next year. We do have, I shouldn't say full, we do have rooms and wings set aside for COVID related when you need to be quarantined. So we do have those offline, and they're prepared when we do need them. But we plan to have students back on campus, and I think both Eric and JC mentioned, we want more social interaction. So we've done a lot of preparation for next fall to how can we do this in a safe manner, not just for the students on campus, but for all of our students, get them back to being students again beyond the classroom. So I'm actually looking forward to next fall. I think it's going to be fun.
Thank you. Some of you have touched on this a little bit, but specifically, what safety precautions either have been or will be implemented on your campus? And JC, we start with you.
Okay. So some that already have been effective and will continue to do throughout, for sure, through the next school year is every student, faculty member, and staff. We do have a daily COVID-19 symptom checker. We still do that. It's via text messages. So it's pretty simple. And then we have our temperature checking stations throughout campus. Then we do also have we implemented a virtual telehealth system or partnership. So that provides, free healthcare for students as needed. And then also the students can utilize a therapy session as needed. So we will continue to push that through. And that's another, support mechanism for those students as they need to, as they're adjusting or anything that might come up. And then we also have COVID-19 testing as a process in our move-in experience. So as our students are moving in, we do have the testing services that we, bring a clinic on campus, and we are able to provide that to them. So those are things that we, have implemented over the last year, and I foresee that we'll keep those in place through the next year as well.
Thank you.
And at the four-year schools for the K-Board schools, we didn't have spring break this year, and most of us chose to start classes in February. And so while that took away spring break, it gave us a longer Christmas break to give students time to get back from being with their families. Trying to think about it from a safety perspective there. Around campus, we've got plexiglass everywhere, and our classrooms are arranged right now for social distancing. So currently they're 6 feet apart, the desks. I'm kind of excited about this. We started some outdoor classrooms, which I really don't know why we haven't had all along, because we call them classrooms, but it's really our courtyard just with seats. So we're pretty excited about that, getting that going. And we've got limited gathering sizes on campus. Our county that we're in right now, they just changed the COVID requirements. So we're looking at expanding that. So right now, the most people we can have in an area is 100. And to do that, with social distancing need a pretty big space. So our arena really is where we can have people. But I anticipate next year at all the schools, we're going to have more social gatherings and a lot more students on campus.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we've taken most of the precautions that everyone has mentioned here. I mean, the social distancing, the masks have been part of what we've done so far. I don't anticipate that, I do anticipate, I guess, that masks probably will not be part of what we do in the fall semester, but I don't know that for sure. I think we'll continue to assess what things look like. Again, we'll err on the side of safety, but hopefully social distancing will allow that. The numbers at our campus and really across the technical colleges in the state, the numbers have all been going downward. We've had 0 since really the end of January here, both in quarantine and isolation cases, active cases. So on both of our campuses in Beloit and Hayes. And so I think, like they mentioned too, a lot of outdoor space, outdoor seating, we've added to that, tried to encourage people. Again, I do think social distancing as much as possible. As you can imagine, if you're building a house, sometimes you have to hold a cabinet up together. And so you're not going to be able to keep 6 feet apart, or when you're working underneath of a car together or something like that. But as much as possible, we will keep people at the social distance. I anticipate that will probably be part of our future for a little while longer. And I think we all have learned some things that we kind of had gotten away from. We've got hand sanitizer all over our campuses, and why we haven't been better in the past about washing our hands and having better hygiene practices as a society. I think that's going to be something you'll see as a residual effect really across across our country. And I think that's the other thing that's important for students to realize. Our job is to prepare them for the workplace that they're going to enter into. And that workplace is going to look different, just like our campuses are going to look different. There's going to be residual impact in every industry. And so we're going to learn what industries are doing, and we're going to try to hold those same standards so that when they go out to that workplace, they're going to be prepared and ready to be successful in that environment.
Thank you. Okay, next, in regards to online courses, if you offer them, is there a difference in tuition for in-person and online?
There is, and I checked at all the Board of Regents schools, and online is if it's a fully online class, it definitely has a different cost structure than in person. Now, most of the schools are structured, at the four-year schools are structured so that in-person and hybrid is the same cost, even though hybrid does have the online component. There isn't an extra fee there, but for the fully online classes, we do have a separate cost structure for that. And it is higher, it is more expensive.
Thank you.
That would be true at the technical colleges too. If it's completely online, it's going to have a little bit higher cost to it just because of the technology that it takes to deliver that and some of the specialty things that you have to do there. But I will also say, as I mentioned before, we really haven't gone online with too many things. And in technical education, it's very difficult for our classes to be completely online. So you're probably looking at, other than the general education courses, which we'll have an online option for probably at all of our institutions, but certainly for the technical courses, they're going to be at most a hybrid option, and most are going to be in that fully in-person, on-ground learning with your hands. That's the way it's going to be to the future. But as far as the pricing, if it's fully online, it will be slightly higher.
So for ICC, on this one, I can't speak for all of the community colleges, but for ICC specifically, as far as the tuition goes, all of our classes are going to cost the same on the tuition side, based on in or out district. But there are some of our fully online classes, you're going to run into, maybe they have an extra fee that's for, a course code or a lab fee or things like that. So the fees, they will differ per class. But as far as the actual credit hour tuition, that will be the same.
Okay, thank you. Now, this next question is one that I get personally as a school counselor a lot from families because of the uncertainty after COVID, which I know is the goal of today as well, to help assure people. So the next question goes to Eric for families that are asking themselves, what if I'm not sure? I'm worried about the uncertainty and debt. Is college worth it right now?
My answer is absolutely yes. And I know as the president of the college, everyone would expect me to say that, but I'm also the father of 5 children, 3 of which are in college right now. And I would tell you that there's only about 10% of jobs that don't require some type of post-secondary training. Now, you don't have to necessarily have a bachelor's degree, although there are certain ones, obviously you do, but you need some post-secondary training in order to be successful. Think about the technology that's in all the fields that we have, all the industries that we have. And it's just, you need to learn how to, again, be successful in that environment, how to operate and use that technology to be successful. And so there's just very few jobs that you're going to want to have for your entire career, or even to get a good start in your career, that are not going to require some type of post-secondary training. And so I would highly recommend to any individual, do some career exploration while you're in high school, figure out what you want to do. College is expensive, but the return on investment is what you really need to look at. And when you look at how not only your earning potential, but the quality of life that you can live by going to college and getting a degree or getting a certificate, getting that post-secondary training, that's what you need to be focused on. And an investment in yourself is always worth it. So I would strongly do a lot of research, figure out what you want to do. You don't want to spend 8 years in college unless you're going to be a doctor. You want to spend as little time there as you can because it is expensive, but you also, you want to find out what you want to do and go get that degree, get that certificate, get trained.
So, just to piggyback off of Eric a little bit, absolutely. The answer is yes, on college is totally worth it. And I would say too, especially from the community college level, I think that students and parents might worry a lot about the debt, but also, I hope everyone knows that there are, a lot of resources and scholarships and community help out there. All the time we run into, people in the community or foundations that are willing to help the students. I can talk especially from the concurrent and dual credit side. We have been fortunate to have a lot of support even for our concurrent and dual credit students, which a lot of the seniors that this will go out to, you might have some of those classes already out of the way and knowing what those will go to. And, also, I'll touch on the community colleges again, with the, all the partnerships that we're doing with the technical colleges and with the four-year colleges. There's a lot of great resources for students that if you don't know what you want to do yet, start with the basics and then find out what options are out there for you. If maybe it's get a few gen eds done and then go on to that technical school where you can finish out your associates and get right into the workplace, or find a 2+2 with a four-year school that can transfer on. There's a lot of options that don't have to cost a lot. So I think, do some research, like Eric said, find out what options are there, tap into your financial aid areas. There's a lot of help out there to help parents who might be scared of the FAFSA or, things like that. There's always FAFSA nights, or there's details on websites or tutorials and things. So, reach out to your counselors, to your local colleges and stuff. And there's people that will help you with that. So.
And I would definitely echo that. I absolutely think it's worth pursuing, and at any level, you need some kind of post-secondary degree. And so, as Eric said, 90% of jobs require something beyond a high school diploma. And so to not go to a college, whether it's, a technical college, a community college, a four-year school, whatever it may be, you just have to do it. And it's the numbers have borne this out for a long, long time. And you're not just going to college, like you're not just getting the education, you're getting the network that you're going to have in terms of meeting your peers, but also alumni. And, JC mentioned the partnerships they have with technical colleges and with four-year schools. You're a part of those connections. And so you meet so many different people. And there's an experience beyond the classroom that I can't put a price on. So Eric said it best, it is expensive. And so you need to be prepared and you need to be ready, and ideally know what you want to do. And if you don't, work with academic advisors at that college to make sure that the classes you take will transfer to whatever degree you are considering. So you're not wasting any time or money, but absolutely it's worth it.
And I know I'm breaking from format here, but I want to follow up with what both Aaron and JC said. And JC talked a lot about the financial aid piece. And I've just really seen this phenomenon, and I'd like to know if the two of them have as well. But I've seen a lot of families that want to avoid financial aid, federal financial aid at all costs. And while I would always advise my own students and anybody, use financial aid as little as possible, get as many grants as you can, get as many scholarships as you can, spend some time applying for those things. They're very much worth it. Don't be scared if you have to take out federal financial aid too. Be smart about how you do it, learn about it. I remember in college, it wasn't so much a fear factor about federal financial aid. It was a fear factor about credit cards. You heard all these horror stories about students that would abuse credit cards. And so I was so fearful when I got my first credit card. And I'll tell you now, I use a credit card or a debit card sometimes every day. And it's just a matter of learning how to use it. And I think federal financial aid is a lot the same way. You just need to learn how to use it. But again, you're investing in yourself. And if you just simply do the math, the loans that you're taking out are going to pay off as you look at how much more you can make versus what you're going to make if you don't go to college. So don't let the fact that you may need to take a loan or do something like that to get through college, don't let that keep you from doing it, because it will pay off in the long run. And quite frankly, again, having taken some classes later in my life, when you're young and you're just coming out of high school, that really is the best time for you to do it, because it's more and more difficult the further down life's path you get. Not that it's impossible. You can come back anytime, but it's definitely more difficult as you move away from high school.
And there are financial aid officers available at every college that I'm aware of in the country that can help you as you're making these decisions. You don't have to do it in a vacuum. They'll work with you in terms of the strategy you're using with that particular financial aid. So if you're the first person in your family going to college and there's no one there to help you make these decisions, that's what we're here for, is to do that. So those resources definitely exist, and we want you to be intelligent about how you use loans.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, this is our last question. We would like to start with JC on this one. What advice do you have for incoming freshman students as they make their final decisions and prepare for the transition beyond high school?
So this one was a hard one. I've been thinking on this, and to put it in the best way is don't overthink it. As students are starting on their career pathways in high school and even before high school, that is an awesome opportunity for the students, as you're in high school to, explore those different options, find out what you like or what you absolutely don't like. That way, whenever you're ready to become a freshman in college, you kind of have an idea of what route you want to go. But, you can also, you might get to college and start on the path that you think you really wanted to do, and you find out you don't like it. You can always change, but don't think that you have to pick one thing and then you can't get out of it. I know that's a huge thing, especially again, for me, I've worked with high school students every day on the college end of things for the last 5 years or more. And, they'll be like, well, I don't know what classes I want to take. And, it's just pick a couple, get started. You won't regret it. And then it's going to help you once you get up to that freshman year of college. And then also to set yourself up for success. Go to class. Don't get there and think that, oh, I don't have structure, or I can do my own thing. Keep a schedule and stick with it. And don't procrastinate. I don't know. A lot of times, we'll have students come in and, they'll be sitting in my office and they'll be like, oh, I have this big project and I haven't started on it and it's due tomorrow. Get a schedule, stick with it, remember the deadlines, and you'll be successful. So.
And I would say to students just that you're entering the unknown when you go to college, but you're doing it with us. And we have had a year to prepare for things that we had no idea we needed to prepare for. And some of the things that happened over the last year, we were ready for and just needed to make adjustments, and others we never could have seen coming. And so we were all in the same boat, you, us, everybody. And we just want you to know that we're right there alongside of you and that we are ready for you now. Now that we've been through this, we understand what services we need to have available. We understand the difference between online learning and in-person and hybrid in terms at a level we didn't know before. We understood it before, but not the way we do now. So we have the tools to help you be successful. We just need you to have the confidence to try and to let us know when you need redirection. So everybody that goes to college, you hit a wall your first semester. It's just different because you may be in a different place. Classes are different. Come talk to us. Just let us know. What do you need? Do you just need to refocus? Is it financial help? Whatever it may be, just let us know, because we're partners in your education, and you graduating. That's why we're here, is to make that happen. So, but we don't want you to do it alone. It's really hard to do it alone, and there's no reason to do it alone, because we're here. We want you to be successful, and we want to go along that journey with you.
Well, the first thing I would say to an incoming freshman, which is also a graduating senior in most cases, or in traditional sense, is congratulations. You just made it through an incredible, this has been something that has not only impacted your education, it's impacted the entire world. And we are all having to reinvent what we do and figure things out in a new way. And you have been definitely impacted by this the most, probably the least by the actual virus, and the most by how it's impacted your world. And so I just encourage you to continue to be flexible as you move forward. But again, as Aaron said, have confidence and be bold. and continue to ask questions. I always tell incoming freshmen, it's very disappointing at all of our institutions for the amount of money that we invest in resources to help students be successful, how many times students don't take advantage of them. And so I just really encourage you, ask lots of questions. If you're struggling, find help. We have help for you, and you're not the first person to face this. And if you are, we'll figure it out together. But I just encourage all of them, ask questions, and really don't be afraid about asking questions. I tell my own children that, you know, if you're thinking, well, I'm probably the only one in the room that doesn't know the answer to this question, well, guess what? If you don't know it, how are you going to be successful? So you're probably not the only person in the room, quite frankly. But if you are, you're the person that you have to worry about, and you need to learn that. And so ask questions, learn, use the resources that we have, and get involved. You know, I think that that's the thing that has been the most trying and the most difficult thing about this year for us at the post-secondary level is it's been difficult to encourage students to get involved as much because they've had to maintain social distance and they've had to kind of create these bubbles around themselves. But we really want to see students get involved. We're creating ways to do that safely, even if we do have to continue with social distance and some of the safety precautionary measures that we take. But hopefully a lot of those will be different as we move into the fall semester, and we'll be able to go much more back to what we considered normal prior to COVID-19. But again, congratulations, great job on getting through all of this and helping all of us get through it as we learn together. And I look forward to seeing you in the fall with smiles on your faces, and hopefully we'll be able to shake hands. That'll be interesting to see what we got to do there, and all those things. But just welcoming you to our campuses and to the next chapter in your life, which is always very exciting. So congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Thank you very much. Well, I just wanted to thank everyone who watched this today. And to the seniors and the families, you know, we encourage you to contact the college admission offices and talk to them about the questions that you have. You heard a lot of information today about the different supports that are available and the many, many resources to help you be successful. And also to our panel members, we just really want to thank you for taking time out of your day. We sincerely appreciate this, your insight and information. And expertise. So thank you very much. We wish everyone well.
Thank you.
On behalf of KBOR and the Kansas State Department of Education, thank you, each of you, for putting this information together, for representing the higher ed institutions and the professionals across the state who are ready to support, just like our high schools were supporting you through this year. They're ready to take you and support you through the next journey in your life to get you to where you want to go. So thanks for being here. And we're excited to see what the class of 2021 has in store.